During the war, many ordinary folk saw their nation as a right to defend itself from foreign aggression. But by mid-October, generals and politicians began to realize that victory required more than patriotism. But because no combatant country had enough men and weapons to continue the war, national leaders aggressively intervened in society and economy. The state intruded further into the daily lives of citizens, while each combatant state established new government ministries to mobilize soldiers and ornament to provide care for war widows and wounded veterans. Censorship offices controlled news about war, while free market capitalism was abandoned for the duration. Government planning boards set mandatory production goals, established rationing programs, and set limits on wages and prices. Based on the tremendously productive industrial economies controlled from above, government management was effective and destructive. As soon as war began, Walter Bryant, two talented Jewish industrialists in charge of Germany's largest electric company, convinced the government to set up War Raw Materials Board to ration and distribute raw materials. Every useful material was inventoried and rationed. Food was rationed according to physical need, and the government failed to tax war profits on private firms heavily enough, which contributed to the massive deficit financing inflation, the growth of a black market, and reemergence of class conflicts. Women worked in war factories, mines, and steel mills where they labored like men. While people lived on less than 1,000 calories a day, war production increased while some Germans were still starving to death. General Hindenburg and General Ludendorff drove Chancellor Bethmann Hollweg from office, with the support of newly formed ultra-conservative and pro-war Fatherland Party. The two generals established a military dictatorship. General Hindenburg called for an ultimate mobilization for total war, which was Germany could not win unless everything was used towards war. During the first years of the war, the beliefs in a just cause and patriotic nationalism entitled the people. The bold use of propaganda and censorship also made the people support the war, from the Allies using propaganda to the Central Powers. It fueled national hatred and encouraged soldiers to contribute fighting while controlling public opinion. Despite having these efforts, the people were falling under the efforts of the war. One of them was Karl Liebknecht, who spoke out at the east of the war efforts. He was arrested short after, but his attack sparked Europe in strikes and protests. One revolt was led by Irish nationalists in April 1916 in Dublin against the British. It was called the Easter Rebellion and was seen crushed after a week of bitter fighting in France. George Clemenceau wanted to stop this by creating a virtual dictatorship in which he jailed any jurist and politician who wanted to compromise with peace. With this, soldiers on all sides of the war beginning to use their morale. From Europe to Britain, the troops from the Allies were losing hope, but the United States joining the war slightly increased the Allies' morale. However, the Central Powers' morale were slowly decreasing with the assassination of the chief ministers of Austria and the death of Emperor Francis Joseph. A symbol of unity disappeared as the morale of the people declined, so did the German troops. From low supplies to thousands of deaths, the Central Powers were falling apart. Revolutions and strikes also led to the collapse of the morale and the impending doom of the future of the war.